Beside me here at Twickenham Cemetery in southwest London is the grave of Warrant Officer Norman Jackson, VC. As we honour our war dead this week, I'm here to pay my respects to this remarkable airman and to tell the astonishing story of his bravery during the Second World War. Behind every Victoria Cross is a story of incredible courage, but I would suggest that what Jackson did in the skies above Germany nearly 80 years ago is arguably the greatest single act of gallantry in the 165-year history of the medal. Norman Cyril Jackson was born in Ealing, West London on April the 8th, 1919. The identity of his real parents is not known. Within months, he had been adopted. In October 1939, less than 2 months after the outbreak of the war, he joined the RAF Volunteer Reserve. Initially, he worked on the ground, but later he took the opportunity to become a flight engineer in RAF bombers. The RAF's bombing offensive against Nazi Germany aimed to weaken their ability to fight, which was central to the Allied strategy for winning the war. By April the 24th, 1944, Jackson had completed his scheduled tour of 30 operations and was due some leave. However, he volunteered for one more sortie on the night of April the 26th. As part of 106 Squadron, Jackson's Lancaster bomber took off from RAF Metheringham, Lincolnshire, with a crew of 7. The target for Jackson's mission was 50 miles northwest of Nuremberg, the center of the German ball-bearing industry. The Lancaster's bombs were dropped successfully, and the aircraft was climbing out of the target area when suddenly it was attacked by a night fighter at nearly 20,000 feet. The captain took evading action, but the enemy aircraft secured several hits, and a fire started near the petrol tank on the upper surface of the starboard wing. Jackson, who had been injured in the attack, obtained the captain's permission to try to put out the blaze. Pushing a small fire extinguisher into the top of his flying jacket and grabbing a small axe, he jettisoned the escape hatch. He then released his parachute inside the aircraft, enabling other crew members to hold on to the rigging lines, paying them out as Jackson crawled onto the burning wing. With the Lancaster traveling at 200 miles per hour and using the axe to secure a grip, he fought the blaze. Despite his best efforts, the fire spread, and soon his face, hands, and clothing were severely burnt. Even worse, the enemy fighter came back and strafed the Lancaster a second time, forcing Jackson to drop the fire extinguisher. Unable to keep his hold on, Jackson was swept through the flames and into the night. When last seen, his parachute was only partly inflated and ablaze. Realizing the fire was out of control, the captain gave the order to abandon the aircraft. Jackson was unable to control his descent and landed heavily, suffering a broken ankle and damaged right eye. He was taken prisoner of war and spent 10 months in hospital, but was freed in 1945. Jackson was one of 5 crew to survive the incident, while 2 perished. His VC was announced on October the 26th, 1945, when his lengthy citation ended. By his ready willingness to face these dangers, he set an example of self-sacrifice which will ever be remembered. Jackson settled in West London and went on to have 7 children. He died on March the 26th, 1994, aged 74. I was delighted to meet Norman Jackson's son, David, and asked him about his father.
I was very young at primary school. A lot of the pupils at the school would want to see my father's Victoria Cross, and the teachers as well. And with Dad's permission, I would put them into my pocket and walk to school with them. But before I left the house, Dad would always say, "Just remember, David, no showing off." And he had a great saying where he would say the three most important things in life are your health, a sense of humour and a little bit of initiative, and in that order, and I think he was absolutely right. A lot of the holders of the Victoria Cross, they're exceptional men, but they just want to be seen as ordinary. That's what they're like.
I feel privileged to be the custodian of the Jackson VC, having bought it at auction. His medal group is on display in the Lord Ashcroft Gallery at the Imperial War Museum in London. As part of my ongoing campaign to champion bravery, I also made a significant contribution to the £6.7 million Bomber Command Memorial, which was unveiled by the Queen in 2012. Bomber Command, which controlled the RAF's bomber forces during the Second World War, suffered horrendous losses. 3 out of 5 airmen became casualties. I believe that the courage of Norman Jackson and the other 125,000 volunteers from Bomber Command must never be forgotten.